Hello and welcome to our English News Edition, the top stories. Inauguration of 100-unit village in Ali Sabih. In Syria, firing resumed in eastern Ghouta. Thank you for joining us in our newsroom. The Minister of Muslim Affairs, Culture and Waqf, Mr. Mumin Hassan Birri, went yesterday to Ali Sabih for the delivery of 100 social housing type F2 to families in need. He presided on the spot at a big ceremony which obviously delighted the purchasers of these new houses built by the Foundation of Rahma. The new city is located east of the city of Ali Sabih. In addition to the members of the government, the event brought together the Prefect of the region, Muhammad Abdullah Sowi, the Vice President of the Regional Council, the Director of the African Branch of the Said Foundation, Saad Al-Utaibi, the Local Director of the NGO, Abdul Ghani Al-Quraishi, and a representative of generous Qatari benefactors behind the investment funds for the construction of the city, Yusuf Muhammad Al-Muftiya. Also present at the ceremony were local elected representative and newly elected member of the National Assembly. This is the first project of this kind implemented in Ali Sabih for disadvantaged families or families providing education for orphans and children in need. The laying of foundation stone for the construction of these 100 social housing units took place on September 22, 2016. During this ceremony, the President of the Africa region of the NGO Rahma, Mr. Saad Al-Utaibi, declared himself proud to see the project succeed. He announced that similar projects will be able to be realized in several other places of the country for the benefit of those who are in need. He thanked the government representatives who facilitated the realization of this kind of project and declared solidarity with the people of Djibouti. Saad Al-Utaibi said the project is following what has already been achieved, such as the Rahma Hospital or the Orphan Reception and Training Center. And he finally welcomed the socio-economic progress recorded and the great achievements made at the level of infrastructure under the leadership of President Ismail Mergeli. Yusuf Muhammad Al-Mutfa, the presidency of the representative of the Qatari generous donors, said it was a happy event for him. A city of 100 social housing also has a mosque. He said a space is planned to create a shopping center. The Prefect of the region, Muhammad Abdullah Sowi, thanked on his side all those who contributed from near or far to the realization of this project, which will have a positive impact on the well-being and the life of the people of weak social conditions. The Minister of Muslim Affairs, Mumin Hassan Birri, for his part, strongly praised the international NGO Rahma and particularly thanked the leaders of its regional branch for all the achievements made in our country. He announced that the inauguration of this city is the 70th similar project of the NGO Rahma, which relieves each time a poor part of our society, like the city and the SIP in the capital through the foundation of the head of state for housing. The granting of keys to this social housing meets the motto of this foundation, namely a family housing. The minister has indicated that the government will continue to encourage this type of initiative, as well as this grand ceremony of granting his social housing ended with handing over the keys of the houses to the beneficiaries. The Republic of Djibouti is preparing to welcome from April 20 to 28 the 11th Games of the countries of the Indian Ocean. The Indian Ocean Youth and Sports Commission will involve young people between the ages of 14 and 17 in these games. As a prelude to these games, the Sheraton Hotel hosted this morning the 64th session of the experts meeting. The launching ceremony of this workshop was chaired by the Secretary of State for Youth and Sports, Hassan Mohammed Kamil. The work of this meeting will spread over 2 days, namely February 22 to 28, and they will allow the experts from Madagascar, Mayotte, and Mauritius, Reunion, and Seychelles to address issues related to the progress of the organization of the 11th Games, which are struggling in a first spirit play young people from the Indian Ocean. The host country for future meetings must also be determined. In his intervention, the Secretary of State for Sports and Youth, Hassan Mohamed Kamil, welcomed the Secretary General of the as well as this department and all the experts from the countries of Indian Ocean and thanked them for their presence on this beautiful land of welcome and hospitality, he said. In continuing his speech, the Secretary of State reiterated the commitment of the government of Djibouti to the promotion and development of sports and youth activities. The governor of the Central Bank of Djibouti, Mr. Ahmed Osman, held this morning an important meeting with the representatives of various banks to discuss the problematic of the control of transfer of silver. This meeting saw the participation of the new American ambassador Larry Andre and experts on the financial flow. This meeting made it possible to discuss the implementation of a series of reforms. In this regard, the Republic of Djibouti has adopted the necessary legal texts to fight the spread of cross-border crime. In addition, Djibouti has introduced and implementing the circular governing financial activities to punish its crime with the support of various development partners, including the U.S. Embassy. And as part of the excellent relationship between the Republic of Djibouti and the United States of America, the Central Bank of Djibouti asked the American Embassy in Djibouti for help with U.S. regulations on international transactions in dollars.
Decades of experience and expertise both in Djibouti and the region. On behalf of the U.S. Embassy in Djibouti, I look forward to working together to advance the economic commercial leg of the United States-Djibouti partnership, and hence greater prosperity for the Djiboutian people. The economic relationship between the United States and Djibouti predates Djibouti's independence in 1977. In 1949, French colonial authorities introduced the Djibouti franc and pegged it against the U.S. dollar. After two re-evaluations, the authorities sustained a fixed rate to the U.S. dollar since 1973. Since there is no significant black market for currency in Djibouti, we know that only fiscal discipline can account for this fixed rate, which deserves congratulations. I congratulate you for becoming an observer at the Middle East and North Africa Financial Action Task Force. This action was a concrete signal to your banks that Djibouti is serious about its anti-money laundering and counterterrorism financing efforts. Joining as an observer will allow Djibouti to gain a better understanding of the task force mutual evaluation process, as well as take advantage of the various technical assistance seminars for this organization.
And on the occasion of the 57th anniversary of the national holiday and 27th anniversary of the liberation of the state of Kuwait, the ambassador of Kuwait to Djibouti, Mr. Yusuf bin Hussein al-Gabandi, organized last night a lavish reception at the Sheraton Hotel. This event saw the participation of Djiboutian officials, including members of the government, namely the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mohammed Ali Yusuf, Minister of Higher Education, Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, Minister of Housing and Environment, Musa Mohammed Ahmed. Also attending this reception was the Speaker of the National Assembly, Mr. Mohammed Ali Hamad, members of the diplomatic corps, civilians and military personalities of the country, as well as representatives of international organizations and foreign forces based in Djibouti. During this evening, the national anthems of both countries were carefully listened to and followed. Let's recall that this reception is an opportunity for the Kuwaiti diplomat to discuss the links of historical friendship between the two countries. In his speech, the Kuwaiti ambassador in Djibouti praised the success of the last legislative elections, which showed the political maturity of the Djiboutian people. Mr. Yusuf bin Hussein al-Kabandi also welcomed the leadership of the leaders of the two countries, namely the Emir of Kuwait and the head of the state of Djibouti. He took this opportunity to review the progress made by his country in recent decades under the leadership of Emir Sabah al-Ahmed al-Jabir al-Sabah in his government in the economic and public services. On the evening of February 23, 2018 at 9 p.m., the gendarmes of the Anglais brigade found a particular dangerous and wanted individual who committed a series of acts of armed extortion, particularly in the Saudi cities, Makkah al-Mukarramah and the central market of Riyadh. Indeed, this brigade is particularly different from other offenders by its as well as Prendi. In this notorious delinquent resident in Berbera was executing his criminal acts during the night in the Saudi cities and Makkah al-Mukarramah. Posing as an officer of the police, he targeted passerbys of Yemeni nationalities on whom he pointed a fake gun while displaying a fake professional card. To his credit, he managed to strip his victims by disposing them of their property, made up sums of money, and during his arrest he was found on him a plastic pistol and a gun, a case, and a fake professional law enforcement card. Obituary, we have learned with sadness the death of Mr. Idris Jama' Kumani last Tuesday. The disease started at the Peltier General Hospital following a long illness. The late Idris Jama' Kumani was born in 1949 to Ali Sabih, where he was an official at the Djibouti Ethiopian Railway, which he was later retired. Well known by his peers as an exemplary patriot, Idris Galafou left behind two children. Idris is none other than the maternal uncle of our French section colleague Ali Abdullahi and the first cousin of the ambassador in Nairobi, Mariam Ahmed Kumani. We pray the Almighty to welcome him to his eternal paradise. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And now moving on to the international news. A daily ceasefire of 5 hours in what Russia promised the people of this suburb of Damascus. The people of eastern Ghouta are waiting for the humanitarian truce ordered by Moscow, a forced fight of 5 hours this morning after a week of daily outbursts. In 8 days, more than 560 people have been killed by the Syrian army. Observers say for the UN, 5 o'clock is better than nothing, but it continues to demand a month of continuous truce, and according to Washington, Russia has the necessary influence to achieve this. About 15 civilians have also been victims of a chlorine gas attack that jihadists and regime blame themselves. And that's all for tonight's news. Thank you for joining us on RTD channel and have a good night.